On behalf of the commissioners and staff, I'd like to welcome you to the December 14th, 2023 City of Roseville Planning Commission meeting. Please put all electronic devices on silent at this time. Agendas are available at the end of the staff table, and if you plan to speak at tonight's meeting, please complete a blue speaker card and return it to the staff table. As a reminder, Planning Commission meetings are broadcast live and replayed throughout the week on Consolidated Communications and Comcast. I will now call the meeting to order. Lupe, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner Brashears.
Here.
Commissioner Hagen-Jost.
Here.
Commissioner Jensen.
Here.
Commissioner Martin is absent, excused. Commissioner Randolph.
Here.
Vice Chair Pryor.
Here.
Chair Covington.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please begin staff introductions.
Good evening, Chair Covington and Commissioners. Lupe Nelson, Recording Secretary.
Good evening, Commissioners. Joe Speaker, Assistant City Attorney.
Good evening, Chair Covington and Commissioners. Derek Ogden, Senior Planner.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Scarlett Marr, Associate Planner.
Good evening, Chair Covington and Commissioners. Sean Morales, Associate Planner.
And good evening, Commissioners. Matt Todd, Principal Engineer.
Thank you. The public comment period is a time for anyone who would like to address the Commission on an item that is not on tonight's agenda. When addressing the Commission, please state your name for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone who would like to address the Commission on an item not on tonight's agenda?
Good evening, Chair Covington, Mayor Bruce Howdeshelt, City of Roseville. Given that this is your last meeting of the year, I wanted to come by and thank you for your diligent, dedicated service to the City of Roseville and in ensuring that it continues to be a high-quality example of what a modern American city can be. You have a lot of things that come before you, and then maybe 3-5 years down the road, they go vertical, right? It takes a while for all of this to come to fruition. But, I want to, and you get reports from your staff. I remember when I was on the Planning Commission, we'd get after-action reports and say, hey, remember what you did? It was approved, this is where it is in the process. But I wanted to share with you something tonight that I shared at our last City Council meeting. And I think it's reflective of not only the pride I have for the work you do and the work our staff does, but it shows how our city is moving forward. So this is from a former colleague of mine on the Planning Commission, Charles Krafka, who's an engineer. And he said, I wanted to reach out and give you a big praise for the city engineering and planning departments. Not sure if you knew, but the Mercy Housing Affordability Project on Pleasant Grove was awarded their grant and is moving forward. This grant requires we get construction permits within 6 months of the award. I think that's the time it allowed, which is very tough to meet. But to make things even tougher, we just found out that a requirement of the grant was to split the lot. What makes this hard was we did not know this when we went through the entitlements, so we did not have an approved tentative map. So we had to very quickly push one through the city. Greg, Darren, Shelby, Jack, Matt, and Mark were awesome, and I think they got our tentative map approved within about a month's time, which is unheard of in any other which is unheard of. In any other agency, this would have been 4 to 6 months minimum. I honestly think this was not a Roseville project. We would have gotten this done on time, so please tell the Planning and Engineering Department that thank you on our behalf for the Mercy Housing Project. Not only does that reflect the can-do attitude of our staff, but it reflects our commitment to affordable housing. And, as we get into the holiday seasons, Merry Christmas to everyone. I just wanted to express my appreciation to you and to our staff.
Thank you, Mayor Howdeshelt, and thank you again to the staff for all your hard work. Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission? Okay, hearing none, I will close the public comment period. The consent calendar consists of routine items that may be approved under one motion as recommended in the staff reports. However, each item may be considered separately upon a request by the audience, planning commission, or staff. Tonight's consent calendar consists of one item. Item 5.1, minutes from the November 9th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting. Is there anyone on the commission or in the audience who would like to pull this item off the consent calendar for separate discussion? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as listed?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Vice Chair Pryor has made the motion and Commissioner Brashears has seconded the motion. Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Pryor,
Yes.
Commissioner Randolph,
Yes.
Commissioner Hagan-Joes,
Yes.
Commissioner Brashears,
Yes.
Commissioner Jensen, and Chair Covington.
Yes. The motion is approved. Next on the agenda is requests and presentations. Before we begin, I will review the meeting procedures. First, we will hear the staff presentation, then I will take questions from the commission, then I'll open the public hearing. The applicant will make a presentation, then I will open public comment and the public will have an opportunity to speak. Then I will close the public comment, and if needed, the applicant will be given an opportunity to provide a rebuttal. Then I will close the public hearing. The commission may ask questions of staff, and finally, the commission will consider the item and make a decision based on the information provided in the report from staff and the testimony presented during tonight's hearing. Item 6.1, North Central Roseville Specific Plan, Parcel 25 at 1101 Galleria Boulevard, file number PL23-0252 is being withdrawn from the agenda and will be renoticed for the January 11th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting. Item 6.2 is a request to adopt the Fidiment Road Self-Storage Initial Study Mitigated Neg Deck and approve a conditional use permit modification, design review permit, and tentative parcel map for 2150 Blue Oaks Boulevard. For the record, file number PL23-0032. Ms. Scarlett, may we have your presentation, please?
Yes. Good evening, Chair Covington and Commissioners. The first item for your consideration this evening is the Fidiment Road Self-Storage Project. So the project site is located on parcel F30 within the West Roseville Specific Plan. It's bordered by open space and the Pleasant Grove Creek to the north, an existing medical office building to the southeast corner of the project site, a vacant parcel with a land use designation of high-density residential to the south across Blue Oaks Boulevard, and an existing electric substation to the west. The site is approximately 8.2 acres in size and has a zoning and land use designation of community commercial. And the requested entitlements before you this evening, as previously mentioned, are a conditional use permit, as well as a design review permit, a tentative parcel map to allow the development of a personal self-storage facility with on-site caretaker's unit, some boat parking, and site improvements. So personal storage facilities within the community commercial zone do require a conditional use permit. This CUP process allows the Planning Commission to impose operational conditions on the use. And consistent with the zoning ordinance, the operational conditions, such as limiting the hours of operations as listed on the screen, will be consistent with the zoning ordinance. Additionally, a condition will prohibit incompatible activities, as you can see on your screen, as part of the project, and will ensure that the project complies with the zoning ordinance. The project includes the construction of 11 self-storage buildings totaling approximately 133,000 square feet of storage space, as well as a 2-story office building with a caretaker's unit, 4 boat parking stalls, some surface parking, and on-site improvements. The site is designed with the storage buildings located along the project frontage on the south and around the perimeter of the site to help screen internal views from the public right-of-way. So the site is encumbered by an existing 50-foot public utility easement and a pedestrian easement, as well as a 45-foot sewer easement along the northeast corner of the project site, as you can see on the screen illustrated in green. The applicant proposes no buildings on the easements at this time, or at all. Additionally, ingress and egress to the project site will be provided via a new 35-foot wide driveway along Blue Oaks Boulevard and will be consistent with city engineering standards. A secondary emergency access point via a driveway through parcel 2 will tie in with the existing driveway cut on the Sutter parcel and will allow the project site for emergency access. As you can see on the screen, it's illustrated in purple. So the internal driveways are of sufficient width and will allow customers to park and load and unload their vehicles, as well as accommodate for fire trucks to use the site and all the internal driveways as well. For security purposes, the entrance into the site will be gated, and the required parking will be located outside the gate for patrons to utilize. The project does provide a total of 9 parking spaces, which does exceed the zoning ordinance parking requirement. So as mentioned, the primary entrance to the project is located on the southern elevation facing Blue Oaks Boulevard and consists of 2 self-storage buildings, buildings 2 and 3, and the office as well as the caretaker's unit. The storage buildings have varying building heights that range from 16 feet to 24 feet tall, but the office and the caretaker's unit will have the highest roof line, which is approximately 30 feet tall, which will make it a prominent feature along Blue Oaks Boulevard, which will also provide varying wall planes to create a visual interest. The building panels do alternate between stucco and sand finish, as well as some wood trim, with ceramic tiles and terracotta roof tile applied on the office building, which once again will face Blue Oaks Boulevard and be a prominent feature. Additional architectural elements do include some spandrel glass panels, some metal awnings, some painted metal trim material, as well as some trellises on the back of buildings 5 and 6, which will face the open space. So the project does include landscaping around the perimeter of the site, with the exception on the western property line adjacent to the electric substation. And consistent with this specific plan, a 50-foot landscape corridor is provided along the project frontage along Blue Oaks Boulevard. The landscape corridor will have a mix of shade, some accent trees compatible with the surrounding area, and will help soften the views from the project side from the public right-of-way. To the north, the project includes a 10-foot landscape buffer consisting of a mixture of native trees and shrubs, which will also help screen the backside of those buildings. And as detailed in the memorandum that was distributed to you earlier today, the applicant does propose to install several trellis features along the rear of buildings 5 and 6, as well as additional plantings adjacent to the open space to aid in the screening of the rear of those buildings, and provide additional canopy spread between 20 feet to help screen the building. Essentially, the landscaping and the trellis features and the lighting on the back of the buildings will help to deter any vandalism in the area. Lastly, the project does include a tentative parcel map to subdivide the existing 8.2 acre parcel into 3 parcels. And as part of the project, the applicant is proposing to dedicate parcel 3 to the city as part as open space. Currently, there are some native oak trees on the parcel, but Park Department has agreed to take the parcel pending the project's annexation into a service district to cover the cost for that to maintain that new parcel. Early notification of the project was posted on the Roseville Coalition of Neighborhoods Association, and the public hearing notice was mailed to property owners within 300 feet, published in the Press Tribune, and posted on the Arcona website. We didn't receive any comments, and consistent with the California Environmental Quality Act, an initial study leading to a mitigated negative declaration was prepared. The document was published for a 20-day public review period, and we received no comments as well. In conclusion, staff finds that the project is consistent with all the applicable goals, policies, and standards of the general plan, the zoning ordinance, as well as the specific plan and the community design guidelines. The site is properly designed and will not be detrimental to the public health and safety or the public welfare, and the required findings of fact can be made. Therefore, we recommend that the commission adopt the required findings of fact and approve the entitlements as listed on this screen. I'm available to answer any questions, as well as, I forgot to mention, but make the changes to the design review permit to include those new conditions that we included in the memorandum. Thank you.
Commissioners, are there any questions for staff at this time?
I have a couple of questions, and it's more related to the off-site portion of the project. That it looks like the emergency exit lane, is there an existing easement into that property to the south there? Because it looks like it's going into parking spaces.
Yeah, so there are a couple existing driveway cuts that were converted into parking spaces when the Sutter Health project came in, but they do share reciprocal access
Okay.
and between the parcels. So those spaces will go away when and if a project develops.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I noticed up on that would be parcel 3, I think at the far, there's a curb cut there, and they're showing parking spaces in that. What's the purpose of those?
Yeah, I can address it, and maybe Matt can chime in as well. But during the development of the project, there was a driveway into the parcel that's not being used that's directly across from Harvey Way. And so that will not be, because of the site constraints, the way that the slopes are there and the oak trees that are in that area, they're not able to really get a driveway down into the parcel. And so that driveway cut will serve as parking, permanent parking for the bike trail, basically. We're already having folks park there now. And so the Public Works Department did review that parking situation and thought it was best to create more of a formal parking area. So there'll be, I think, 2 or 3 spaces, Matt?
Yeah, it looks like 2.
I think there's 2 spaces there, and there's ample room for people to back up and then pull back onto Fitiment Road.
Okay, so it's just trailhead parking.
Correct.
Okay. And then the last question is, and I think I know the answer to this, because those parcels are going to, well, at least the parcel 2 is going to remain vacant for a while. The maintenance and keeping the weeds down, that's going to be the existing property owner's responsibility to continue to keep that?
Yeah, so they are going to hang on to parcel 2, and that will be their responsibility to maintain that parcel, yeah.
Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions from commissioners to staff? Okay. I will now open the public hearing. I would like to invite the project representative for this item to address the commission.
Good evening, Sean O'Neill, 120 North Auburn Street, Grass Valley, California. And I'm here as the project engineer and the proponent and one of the owners. And basically, we're very happy with staff. You guys do have a great staff. The mayor was right about that. They're very great to deal with, and we appreciate all the professionalism that they give it to us. We're fine with the commissions as they're, all the conditions as they're laid out, including the additional ones. We will be, actually, the one thing I think wasn't meant was spraying the paint with some anti-graffiti clothing now too, which when I asked one of my contractors friends, we had 4 of these, we've never had an issue. He goes, why wouldn't you be doing that? So that will be something we'll be adding to all future projects too. So I thank you. I think John was the one that pointed it out, and we do appreciate that. So, but I'm here to answer any questions on what, if you guys have anything that hasn't been covered, or anything, questions about anything else.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions for the project representative? Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys very much, and thank you, staff. We appreciate it.
I will now open the public comment period. Is there anyone from the public who would like to come forward and address the commission on this item?
John Freitas, 23-year resident of Roseville. 2 questions. One, how many hits are on RCONA per month? That's one question. And then the second one is, this may be an education for myself, but there's this quote, alleged climate change. Is the Planning Commission have any dictation in, do the units need to be climate controlled? In Roseville, we have extreme heat. And I know when you store wood products, the heat breaks it down, and some storage units offer climate controlled units. I didn't know if that was considered.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah, I can try to address a couple of those. Not exactly sure how many hits the Arcona website does get, but we can look into that. I do know that it's fairly well utilized by the members of Arcona, and I know we have several Arcona members on the commission. And so As far as are these units climate controlled, I don't believe they are, but we do have other projects in Roseville that are climate controlled. The new U-Haul project that's going in at Wills Road. So we are seeing more of that, but yeah, I don't believe any of these units are climate controlled.
Oh, you want me to answer that?
Sure.
Sean O'Neill again. At this time, we're not planning on climate control at this facility. So we do have climate controlled units where we do have at other facilities, have not been as prosperous as we were hoping. So at this time, we're still with the standard self-storage units. So, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from the public? Okay, I will now close the public comment period. Any questions or comments for the applicant from the commission? Okay, I will now close the public hearing. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Can I ask one more clarifying question?
Sure.
Just because I'm not sure that that question got fully answered about climate change and the way we look at that in projects. Our general plan has a whole discussion about climate change. Is that correct? Or greenhouse gases?
Yeah, we do have an air quality section, yeah.
And so that's reviewed as part of this project and going forward, and make sure that it conforms with those requirements that are in our general plan, correct? And so that's part of the mitigated neg deck that we're taking a look at.
Right. Yes, we look at all all the tenets of the CEQA checklist, which one of them is greenhouse gas and climate change as well, yeah.
Correct. I just wanted to make sure that that was out there, that is something that the planning staff looks at, so thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any last comments or questions from the other commissioners? Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the Fitterment Road self-storage initial study and mitigated negative declaration, and adopt the 3 findings of fact and approve the conditional use permit subject to 5 conditions of approval, and adopt the 4 findings of fact and approve the design review permits subject to 75 conditions of approval, and adopt the 3 findings of fact and approve the tentative parcel map subject to 47 conditions of approval, and also include the modified conditions of approval as outlined in the memorandum. And that is for file number PL 23-0032.
Second.
Okay. Vice Chair Pryor has made the motion and Commissioner Randolph has seconded the motion. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Randolph?
Yes.
Commissioner Jensen?
Yes.
Vice Chair Pryor?
Yes.
Commissioner Hagen-Joes?
Yes.
Commissioner Brashears?
Yes.
And Chair Covington?
Yes, the motion is approved. There is a 10-day appeal period for this item. Item 6.3 is a request for a major project permit Stage 1 modification, major project permit Stage 2 administrative permit, lot line adjustment, and planned sign permit program for 290 Conference Center Drive. For the record, PL number 23-0054. Sean, may we have your presentation, please?
Yes, you may. Good evening again, Chair and Commissioners. Tonight I'm here to present to you the Roseville Junction Hotels project. The project site is located at 290 Conference Center Drive within the Roseville Junction development at the end of Conference Center Drive adjacent to Highway 65. Roseville Junction was approved by the Commission through the Major Project Permit, or MPP, process in 2021. The MPP Stage 1 approved the site plan and design guidelines for the center. The first MPP Stage 2 within the development was approved in September of this year for electric pickle. The current request includes the following entitlements: an MPP Stage 1 modification to adjust the approved site plan, including the footprints for the hotels, an MPP Stage 2 to review the building elevations for the 2 hotels, which include a Hyatt Caption and Hyatt House, an administrative permit for a parking reduction to reduce the required parking for the hotels, a minor lot line adjustment, and a planned sign permit program. The project will modify the approved site plan by altering the configuration of the 2 hotels as shown here, in addition to other associated changes. One of the changes is the new patio area connecting the Hyatt Caption and Beer Garden parcels, where previously there was a drive aisle. Another change includes adding stormwater quality basins throughout the site. The new basins are highlighted in blue on the right side. The modifications were reviewed by the Engineering Division and Fire Department and meet all access and circulation requirements. Roseville Junction was approved with a limited colors and materials palette shown below as a starting point, knowing that future users would require additional colors and materials while adhering to the overall design theme, which is modern industrial. The hotels propose to use materials from the approved palette, including varying gray stuccos, wood insets, and metal canopies. In addition, there are other colors mentioned in the guidelines text that are used in the proposal, including orange rust, brown, and green for contrast on the Hyatt House. Consistent with the city's community design guidelines, the buildings also include tower elements at the entrance, varying wall planes and wall heights, and a quality durable material around the base, which in this case is brick for these hotels. The site modifications result in the elimination of 55 parking spaces and a shortfall of 49 required spaces on site. To address the shortfall, the applicant requests an administrative permit for a parking reduction to allow a reduced requirement of 0.8 spaces per hotel room rather than the 1 space per room required by our zoning ordinance. The justification for the reduction includes parking surveys for similar uses that found 0.8 to be appropriate, information from the Institute of Transportation Engineers that recommends 0.72 spaces per room for suburban hotels, and the harmony with future surrounding uses which will have the highest parking demand at different hours from the hotels. The applicant also reduced the square footage of one future restaurant within the center to help make up the shortfall, as shown in the table there. A small lot line adjustment is also requested with the project to eliminate the conflict with the proposed building in the Roseville Junction Beer Garden project, as you can see on the slide. And a planned sign permit program is requested to coordinate future signage within the center, including monument and wall signage. The program meets the criteria of the city's sign ordinance and addresses unique situations to the development, such as signage for future tenants of the beer garden parcel, which will be made up of many different structures, but is being treated like a single pad building within the development in terms of signage. Early notification of the project was posted on the Arcona website, and the public hearing notice was mailed to a radius of 300 feet, published in the Press Tribune and on the Arcona website as well. No comments were received in response to the notice. An addendum to the Roseville Hotel and Conference Center Project EIR was prepared with the MPP Stage 1 for Roseville Junction, and the hotels are consistent with that previously approved addendum. In conclusion, staff finds the project is consistent with all applicable goals, policies, and standards of the general plan, specific plan, community design guidelines, and the MPP Stage 1 approval. Therefore, staff recommends the Commission adopt the required findings of fact and approve the entitlements as listed, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Sean. Commissioners, any questions for staff at this time? Okay.
Actually, just one on the parking. Was there any consideration with the electric pickle going in and the draw that might bring bleeding over into the parking lot, into the hotel area, especially by reducing spaces? Was that taken into account?
Yeah, the parking for the site is looked at for all the uses at the same time since they have reciprocal parking agreements. Electric Pickle does have 141 spaces just for that use, which is quite a lot. And so with the hotel uses as described in the surveys being what they are and the other uses on site, we thought that there was an adequate parking.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Randolph. Any other?
Just a quick follow-up. On the parking reduction for the hotels, I actually think it's a good idea to reduce that. Is staff going to be looking at that as something to modify the standards going forward so it's not a reduction request with every new hotel that comes in?
Yeah, that is something that we've been looking at, Commissioner Jensen, with the Hilton project that happened right across Gibson Drive there. They did a site-specific study on some suburban hotels from the Texas area, but they were very similar kind of demographics to Roseville. And they showed that it was approximately about 0.7 to 0.8.
Range, but they're rarely fully occupied is what they found. And when they were fully occupied, it was about 0.8 at the most.
So that study, in addition to the transportation ITE manual, is kind of leading us that direction that, we don't want to have to prepare a parking reduction for every project, every hotel project that comes forward. So that is something that we're definitely looking into.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jensen. Any other comments or questions for staff? Okay. I will now open the public hearing and would like to invite the project representative for this item to address the commission.
Thank you guys very much.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, Greg Bardini with Morton Metallo representing the project this evening. Also with me is the property owner, Rohit Ranchod, and our management group with Lead Tap Development, Victor Chang and Amber Lonsky. Appreciate Sean. Really not a lot to add because the presentation staff does are really thorough. We do, agree with the ITE and the parking reduction, and a lot of that is, as it was explained in the IT manual, is the rideshare programs and other things that are available, which is reducing that parking ratio. But we did do a detailed look at the site and feel, based on the uses, it's appropriate. With that, we're available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions for the project representative? Okay.
Thank you for your
Thank you so
consideration.
much. I will now open the public comment period. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the commission on this item?
John again. I don't know, this may apply to even the storage unit, but just observing in Roseville, we have a lot of electric vehicles. And I don't know if there's been consideration for charging stations in parking lots. It too may apply to these electric scooters and electric bikes. I don't think there's a retail establishment that has a plug-in for a bike or a scooter. Good night. Enjoy your holiday.
Thank you. Any comment back?
Yeah, I can try to address that. So the green building code does require charging stations. I think it's about 5% of the overall parking spaces have to be EV-capable spaces. And then there's additional parking spaces that have to be plumbed or piped for future electrical connections. So as the EV, kind of fleet expands in California, these projects are being designed to sort of accommodate that. And so that definitely is a consideration of all of California, really, and Roseville is following the green building code.
Thank you. Okay. I will now close the public comment period. Are there additional questions or comments for the applicant from the commission? Okay. I will now close the public hearing. Would anyone like to make a motion or have other comments before we go into a motion on the commission? Okay, would anyone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that the planning division recommend, the planning commission take the following actions. Adopt the 2 findings of fact and approve the MPP Stage 1 modifications subject to 5 conditions of approval. Adopt the 2 findings of fact and approve the MPP Stage 2 subject to 79 conditions of approval. Adopt the 2 findings of fact and approve the administrative permit for a parking reduction subject to 3 conditions of approval. Approve the lot line adjustment subject to 9 conditions of approval. And adopt the 3 findings of fact and approve the plan sign permit program subject to 3 conditions of approval. And that is file number PL 21-0153. No, sorry, I'm reading that one. File PL 23-0054. That's a different one.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah, see, I was reading that one.
Yeah, I got you.
I got it right there.
Commissioner Brashears has made the motion and Commissioner Jensen has seconded the motion. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hagen-Jost?
Yes.
Vice Chair Pryor?
Yes.
Commissioner Brashears?
Yes.
Commissioner Randolph?
Yes.
Commissioner Jensen?
Yes.
And Chair Covington?
Yes, the motion is approved. There is a 10-day appeal period for this item. Next on the agenda is the commissioner or staff report. Are there any reports from staff?
I'll just make this real short. I just wanted to wish you all happy holidays and a wonderful new year. We will be having a Planning Commission meeting the second Thursday in January, so that'll be January 11th in the new year. And that's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you. Any last questions or comments from the commission?
Yeah, I just want to say the same thing back to you guys. It's really, part of you cleared out already, but thank you very much for a great year. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and all that, so.
Happy holidays, everyone.
I would like to second that, and thank you guys for working with us and being so responsive when we had questions during the year on any of the projects that came before us. So I really appreciate your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Amazing job. And that letter said it all. That was awesome.
Yep.
Awesome to hear.
You want to hear it again? I'll say that.
Roll back the footage.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, and happy holidays to all. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Vice Chair Pryor has made the motion and Commissioner Randolph has seconded the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.